Hello and welcome back to the second part of this tutorial. So we're going to look at moving on to creating another part of this model here. So we go back to modeling and press 3 on the numpad, and I'm going to turn back on my two empties that are going to guide us in the creation of this character. Okay, so I'm going to enter edit mode. I want to look at, I'm on face selection here up in the top left corner, so I'm going to go to vertex select. We're going to have a little look at it. I'm going to try and make the ear, which is probably one of the most difficult parts of the human head to make. And we'll try and make maybe this lower part of the face in this session here. So I'm going to right click on this vert here, and I'm going to extrude 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this one here, when I look at it from the front, I'm going to press G and move this out to its corresponding position. And this one, G, and move that there. Oops, this one, press G, and then finally this one, G. Now, as we did before, we're going to split the view so we don't have to keep moving backwards and forwards. I'm going to press 3 here, and everything should be aligned so I can see things from the front and from behind. Now I don't need all these tools, so I'm going to press T to hide that toolbar, and I can do the same over here. I can press T. So now I'm just looking at the model. We could connect all these together first of all. Now these are probably, this face here in particular is too big, so I'm going to press Control or over here to create a loop cut. And then in this view here, I'm just going to press G and try and give these a more sort of organic and more rounded appearance. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to have a look at making this this ear. Now we also have to kind of keep in mind how many verts we have. So I'm going to have this one here, which I'm going to actually move up a little bit. So I'm going to move that to there. We have this one, this one, this one. Possibly this one we could bring up to the bottom, the base of the ear. So we don't have many verts to play with. So I'm going to extrude this down. I'm going to go 1. This one's going to correspond to that there. 2. Right, so we have 4 verts. I'm going to position them in the front view here so that they're hopefully mapping sort of the side of the face. Okay, and now we're going to see how we will build this part of the ear. So there's no exact science to this, so I'm going to extrude this face out, scale it in a little bit, and then here move it out. I then want to kind of create this pit or this hole here that's in the ear, so I'm going to extrude this down and move it a little bit across here. Then I'm going to move it, or I'm going to extrude it across, scale it in a little bit, and then I'm going to extrude it back out to here, scale it in, and go G and bring that to about there. So in 3D, that's kind of what we've made. Okay, so now I'm going to take this vert and extrude it to here, and this is going to be sort of the start of the earlobe. So 1, 2, 3, 4 face. So I'm going to extrude 1, 2. Again, I'm going to position them in this view. and try and correspond with them here. So 1, 2, and again I have to position them on this side. So there and there. Now the image doesn't completely correspond or match, so we're going to have to be a little bit creative in how we do that. And then I want these two to basically follow the ear around. Okay, so we're going to try and do that here. So we're going to extrude that to there. And this one is going to extrude up to here. Okay, so now I'm going to try and make this go around. So 1, 2, and they'll match up with these eventually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to try and match the inner and outer geometry here. Now this is quite crude and quite simplistic, but hopefully we can get it to give us some good results as a starting position anyway. So again, I'm just trying to move them in their pairs, so to speak. And again, we can see that the images don't quite match. They're not a perfect match by any means, and move them to there. Okay, and in fact what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and join these two together. So I'm going to go W, I'm going to press merge vertices, and then at last, because this was the last one I selected. Okay, and then from here I'm going to press F for a face. Now that there's like other things going on in there that I'm not actually following by doing that, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so what I want to try and make is a sort of this sort of sense of there's a indentation here. So I'm going to take these 3, these 4, and I'm going to extrude them in here, and then you can't see them here, so I'm going to move them forward a little bit by pressing G. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with this one, so I'm going to move it in and also move it that way, so I can make a face there. Now this obviously, this indentation here is much deeper, so I'm going to press E and move that in, but this is going to move quite far in that direction, so that's going to go in quite deep, and then this is going to try and join it, so I'm going to go E and then again bring this one in quite far. And then when we look at this here, we can see that those 4 should join up. Okay, so now we have a face we can place there, and our ear is starting to take shape. We need to fill in this outer rim. So I'm just selecting 4 verts here and pressing the F key. And the rest of the face, compared to this part, is actually very simple. This is the most sort of complex shape on the human face, or the human head, to make. Now, I'm going to try and join these together. Again, this is sort of oversimplifying the shape of the ear, but at this stage all we're trying to do is create a simple shape. We'll be coming back to sculpt this at a later date. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go E and move it across to here, and it's kind of raised up a little bit, so that actually suits us. And press F, and then 2, 3, 4. So we'll make that a face. And at this stage, whoops, we're just trying to fill in. Now, if we ended up with a triangle, it wouldn't be the end of the world, because while some people can wiggle their ears, there's not going to be a lot of animation going on here. Okay, now, what we really need to do is this needs to come up. So I'm going to press G, move that up to there, and then this face, this one, is where, you know, it should be sort of indented, or where the ear should go in. So I'm going to press E and bring this in, and press S, and so that's where our ear is going to go in, but it's not quite right, so I'm going to press OR and G, so it's meant to go in that way. Now we could probably, or we should, move that there and that there, just so that we can see in that there's some sort of indentation. Now again, we'll come back and we'll tweak this. Now the next thing we need to do is sort of do the back of the ear. So again, I'm going to start here at the lobe, and again there's different techniques to doing this. So I'm going to press E to extrude and bring that in, so it sort of creates a sense of sort of a volume at the back of the ear. So we're not going to join everything up just yet. We're going to see how we can join this part to the rest first. So let's again extrude, trying match the geometry here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is going to be a face there, and then this has all gone back in a straight line, so I'm going to try and reposition it to its corresponding position from the front. Okay, so now we can see that I can complete that face, and that one, and that one. And now I'm going to press Control OR and create another loop cut here, and that's going to allow me to press F there and F there. Now that gives me a slight conundrum, because I've now introduced a triangle here when I join these. So I'm going to produce another loop cut in here so that I can maintain my surface of quads. Okay, and it kind of suits me to have a little bit more geometry in this eye anyway. Okay, and now what we need to do is again just join from here to here. So we'll press E, now again reposition these in this view. And now we're just going to fill this in. Now the UV work that we've done, the projection, is not going to work now because we've got a whole bunch of extra geometry, and some of that geometry it was made from looking from the side. So our project from view here from the front won't sit easily onto this. It won't be too bad, but it won't give us particularly good results. So the rest of this is quite straightforward to fill in. So I'm going to fill in this jaw area here. I'm not going to do any more here, and then we'll stop at this stage because we're about 14 minutes in. So and then we'll finish off the top of the head, the back of the head, and the neck in the next installation of this tutorial. So let's just finish off this jaw here. So again, I'm trying to follow the geometry that already exists. So I'm using the E key to extrude. So we can fill all this in. Just going to turn it into 3D a little bit so I can see where everything is a little bit more clearly. And like I said, there is a tool, a bridge edge loop tool, that will actually speed up this process. But for now, as this is basically your first time doing this in Blender, although you may find it torturously slow, is actually shifting all of these polygons around, making faces. All of this is good work for you, good experience. So I'm going to select this, I'm going to rotate it a little bit and just move it out to about here, just so that it's in keeping with the jawline. And again, I'm going to join all these up. Okay, and now we've got to have a look at just completing the rest of this jawline here. So from here, I'm going to, so I've got 1, 2, so they're going to come across here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then see if I can join this up. So again, let's match my to my image here so that I'm in the right space, and we will extrude this across and then reposition it here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we'll find is when we turn off these backgrounds and we spin this around in 3D, that there's probably a couple of these verts that are in completely the wrong place. But we can fix that, we can tweak it. So again, we can extrude out here, I'm going to reposition it there, and then extrude out and out to there. And there we go. And then fill this in, and then we're going to have a look at how do we, so this part of the face does move a lot. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to retain quads. So we want quads here as much as possible, otherwise we'll end up with undesirable sort of animations. So I'm going to introduce a loop cut here, so that allows me to have a quad here, and I can have a quad there, and I'm going to add in another loop cut here, and I can have a quad there. And then this final section, I have 4 here. Now that's not, whoops, I need to move that slightly. And then I can put in a quad here. And rather than trying to fix this now, I'm actually going to select this edge, and I'm going to delete it, delete edge. Okay. So let's turn off these 2 empties here. Let's go back to our shaded view and go into rendered mode and look through here. Actually, let's go into our UV editing and go from the front and orthographic and edit, and we'll select everything, and we can see that this new geometry all converges at a single point. So let's unwrap this, project from view. Now I've got this that I can position, and while far from perfect, it will give us a decent representation to begin with. So still a little bit scary and disconcerting. You can also see that I haven't set smooth here, so if I go back to my modeling, if I go to my object and shade smooth, it gets rid of the individual faces that we otherwise would see. So you can see this isn't unwrapped at all correctly, and that's because we've unwrapped it from this view, and we will look at how we will go about improving this and making it look, how do we project from the front and the side simultaneously, and there's a whole other set of tools and methods for doing that. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now, and then in the next tutorial we will finish the head entirely.